All right, so again, back into quadratics. And as I was talking about earlier this morning, that every quadratic equation can be written in the form y equals x minus h squared plus k. Now, we can actually not only graph these equations, but we can actually find the equation. Just again, the key spot here is if you know the vertex. So in this case, find the quadratic equation with a vertex of -1, 4. And so what that's telling me here is that this vertex, compared to the original, is being shifted left 1, but up 4, which is a nice way of saying if it's going left 1, my h is -1, and my k value is 4. All right, and so that I can write the equation of a line, or sorry, not of a line, of a parabola. I go y equals x. Now, here's the tricky part. My h value is negative. There's a negative sign in the equation, so those two negative signs come together to give me a positive. So I'm going to have y equals x plus 1 squared. But I also have this k value where my parabola is being shifted up 4. So plus 4. So it's kind of working backwards. All right, same with this one here. Find the equation of the quadratic equation with the vertex of 5, -7. Again, that means this vertex has been shifted right 5, down 7. And so again, that means my h value here is 5. And my k value is -7, down 7. And so again, if I was writing the equation, it would be y equals x. This time my h is positive, so it's going to be an x minus 5. That's the trick. All right, so I'm going to have y equals x minus 5 squared. But again, my k value is -7, so that's normal. And so the equation of this parabola is y equals x minus 5 squared minus 7. Now, I can take it a step further and try one of these. I have a parabola here, and I want to find the equation of that quadratic. Well, I'm going to do the same thing I did before, but I'm just going to use a graph by finding the vertex, which is right there. And that vertex is the point. Let me see here. 3 to the right, but 2 down. All right, so there's my vertex. And just like I did before, that means this parabola compared to the original is shifted right 3. So h is 3, but down 2, which means my k value is -2. And so now I can write the equation of my parabola with y equals, let's see here, x. And let's see, the h value is positive, so it's going to be a -3 here in brackets, squared. And again, my k value is saying down 2, so it is a -2. So again, we can work both ways. Now, things are going to step up here a little bit, is that I kind of lied a little bit, is that there's another letter we got to worry about in front. That's the a value. So the quadratic equation really comes in the form y equals a times this x minus h squared plus k. Now, we've already dealt with h and k, right? The left and right. But the a value, it does two things. A, let's see here, controls the shape of a parabola. All right. Now, you've got 3 different things that can happen. First off, if a equals 1, the parabola has a normal shape. That's all the ones we just dealt with. All right. So our a value was always 1. Now, we couldn't see it because there was nothing there, which really meant there was a 1 there. All right. It's one of those secret ones of grade 9 I always look at. Now, what we could also have, though, is a is greater than 1. And what happens is, and I'm going to explain why this happens, your parabola is called vertically stretched. It is like somebody grabbed the top and the bottom of your parabola and pulled at it. And so if you have a normal shape, you got something like this. But a vertically stretched shape, you get something like this. It's going to look different. All right, now the third option, because I said there was 3 of them, we have equal to 1, greater than 1, or less than 1. What happens is your parabola's the opposite. It is called vertically compressed. Oops, compressed. And essentially what it kind of looks like is that your parabola from the top and the bottom vertically has been pushed, compressed, pushed, smushed. And so it looks like this a little bit. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but you get the idea. Now that's the first thing A controls, because it controls 2 things. And the other thing is A controls, here we get some writing going on here. Oops, controls, SDR. If the parabola opens up or down. And so what'll happen is you look at the number of A. If it's 1, it controls a shape. Greater than 1 is vertically stretched. Less than 1 is vertically compressed. But if A is negative, we look at the sign, it opens down. Your parabola is downwards. If it's positive, well, it's just like what we had. It opens up. All right, so there is your 2 shapes, 2 things that can happen with A. So 1 letter, but yet it controls 2 things. All right, now, and I'm going to explain how it affects, because here's what's going to happen. Our steps are going to change. Our steps are not always 1, 3, 5. They were last class because A was always 1. And that's why we always had a normal shape. Our parabola's always opened up. And our steps were always 1, 3, 5. But now we're going to take our steps and we're going to multiply them by A. All right, so here we go. So again, graphing parabolas quickly. Now, I have the graph the equation y equals 2x squared. So again, there's no brackets here. H is 0. There is no number after the squared. So that means my k is 0. Now, if my vertex or if my graph, my parabola here is not being shifted up or down at all, or left or right, the vertex is not being shifted up or down or left or right. So that doesn't change. But my a value here is the number in front of the x squared. And here, a is 2. And so if I look at my steps now, because again, my steps are, you've got to take 1, multiply it by a. So that's 2. Then I take my 3 and I multiply it by a. So 2 times 3 is 6. And then finally, 5 times my a value, 5 times 2, which is 10. So now, here's how it works. Same as before, plot the vertex, which is at 0, 0. There it is. But now here's my new steps, my new pattern. So I'm going to go over 1, that doesn't change, but up 2. Over 1, up 6. And then over 1, up 10 if it fits. 2, 4, 6, it doesn't fit. No problem. Back to the vertex, do the same thing on the other side. So over 1, up 2. Over 1, up 6. And again, I already know 10's not going to fit because these points are twins. The one on the right didn't fit. The one on the left's not going to fit. All right, so I draw my parabola. And again, 2 ways you can see this. My a value is greater than 1. But look at the graph. It's more narrow. It's been stretched. In fact, it's been vertically stretched. There we go. All right, so there's our vertically stretched parabola, a little different than our original. But again, see how our a value is positive? Positive 2, it opens up. All right, so here we go. Another one here. Graph the equation y equals 0.5x squared plus 8. So again, the number in front of the x squared, that's my a value. So there we go. A is 0.5. Now, again, there's no brackets. So it's not being shifted left or right at all. But we do have a number after the squared. It's 8. So that means this graph is being shifted up 8. So again, if our original vertex was at 0, 0, and this is being shifted up 8, our new vertex is at 0, 8. Now my steps. Again, 1, 3, 5, but I got to multiply them by a. So 1 times 0.5 is 0.5. 3 times 0.5 is 1.5. And 5 times 0.5, a little calculator, 2.5. All right. So now I can graph my parabola because I know my steps and I know where my vertex is. All right. So I graph my vertex. Should see 2, 4, 6, 8, way up here. All right. Now I follow my step pattern. Over 1, but only up a half. Then over 1, and then up 1.5. Then over 1, up 2.5. There we go. Again, parabola symmetric. Over to the other side, do the same thing. Over 1, up a half. Over 1, up 1.5. And then over 1, up 2.5. There we go. And I draw my parabola. There it is. All right. And again, my a value here, I look at just the number because the sign is telling me it opens up, which it did. And because it's less than 1, this has been vertically compressed. It looks like somebody pressed on this parabola from both the top and the bottom. Vertically compressed. All right, let's try a few more. Let's see here. There we go. All right, so I got a next one here. I got y equals 0.33 times x minus 6 squared. All right, so again, the numbers in front of the squared, the x, that's my a value. It's 0.33. All right, inside the brackets. Oh, I have a number this time. That's my h value. Again, the negative sign's supposed to be there. So h is 6. Nothing happened on afterwards, so it's not being shifted up or down at all. And so if this graph is being shifted right 6, that means my vertex is going to be 6, 0. All right, steps. Again, taking 1, 3, and 5 and multiplying it by a. Well, so 1 times 0.33 is 0.33. 3 times 0.33 is actually just a 1. And then 5 times 0.33 is 1.67. Little decimals here. It's going to be a little tougher. All right. So same method as before. There's my vertex. There's my steps. That's what I need to do this real quick. Much easier than doing a table of values. And so I go over. The vertex is 6, 0. There it is. I plot it. All right, and then again, using my steps. Over 1, up a third, so right in there. Over 1, up 1. So it's going to be the same there. And then over 1, up 1.67. There we go. Again, symmetric, go back to the vertex, do the same thing on the other side. And there is our parabola. Which again, is going to be vertically compressed. There we go. Again, if I just look at the a value, it's less than 1, the number. So I know it's got to be vertically compressed. Or you can look at the graph. But sometimes that can be misleading. All right, now, next up. We have y equals 3 times x plus 5 squared minus 4. All right, so again, I look. I've got my number here. There's my a value. It's 3. So listen, it's already greater than 1. So this thing is going to be, I already know it by looking at the equation, it's going to be vertically stretched. I'm going to get to why that's happening. All right, now, again, I look in the brackets here, plus 5, which means really my H value is minus 5, right? It always looks the opposite. That's the trick. All right, but then my K value, well, it looks like it's going down 4. All right, so because this graph is shifted left 5, down 4, I can put that information in. All right, so there's my new vertex. Now my steps. Again, I got to take 1, 3, and 5 and multiply it by my A value, which is 3. So 1 times 3 is 3. Whoa, 3 times 3 is 9. And 5 times 3 is 15. The reason our parabola is vertically stretched is because this A value is 3, our steps get bigger because we're multiplying 1, 3, and 5 by A. So if our A is big, we're going up quicker than we normally do, which makes it stretched. All right, so now I'm going to plot my, well, I've got everything I need here, right? I got my vertex, I have my steps, so it's time to plot the vertex once again. So -5, and then down 4. So there's my vertex there. Is that right? Yep, okay. And then again, using my steps. So this time I'm going over 1, up 3. Over 1, up 9. So let's see here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. And 15 for sure is not going to fit. All right, back to the vertex. Over 1, up 3. Over 1, up 9. Draw my parabola in there. And there we go. And as you can see, it's definitely more narrow. It has been vertically stretched is the proper math language. All right, let's do a few more. See here. Here we go. Changing it up a bit. All right, so now here we go. Again, I'm going to graph the equation. Same thing I've done before. The number in front of the x, there's your A value. All right, now my H value, again, plus 4. So really it looks the opposite. So this graph is shifted left 4. K value, it's going to go up 10. And so my vertex here, if this is shifted left 4 up 10, is going to be -4, 10. All right, now my steps. Again, I have to take my A value and multiply it by 1, 3, and 5. So 1 times -1 is -1. 3 times -1 is -3. And 5 times -1 is -5. Now, here's something about this parabola. Number 1, if I look at the number, not the sign, just the number, it is 1. It is going to have a normal shape because it's neither greater than 1 or less than 1 in terms of just the number. But look at the sign. It's negative. It made our steps negative. So what's going to happen? When we do our step method, we're going to go down instead of up. But again, I got to plot my vertex first. So -4, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There we go. All right, and so now with my steps being negative, over 1, down 1. Over 1, down 3. And over 1, down 5. Again, same thing on the other side. Over 1, down 1. Over 1, down 3. Over 1, down 5. There we go. So again, there's our parabola shifted left 4, up 10, has a normal shape, but yet opens down. And that's all that stuff that you got to be able to look at that equation and see that happening. All right, let's try one more here. All right, so I look at this equation, right? And immediately, here's what I can tell you. Negative sign. That opens down, this parabola. Look at the number here for the A value. It's negative, it's a 0.5, the number is, it's less than 1. This thing is going to be vertically compressed. And the reason is our steps are going to be smaller. It's not going to go up as fast, and so it's going to be a little bit wider. Look at the H value. It's 3. It's shifted right 3 and up 7. All right. So that means our vertex is going to be 3, 7. So that's one part. And then my steps. All right. So let's see. 1 times negative 0.5. That's negative 0.5. That first step always tells you what your A value is. Then 3 times negative 0.5 is negative 1.5. And then 5 times negative 0.5, negative 2.5. All right, so again, we have our vertex. We have our steps, so it's time to graph a parabola. Let's see here. So let's see here, 3, 7. So right 3, up 7. There you go. Over 1, down a half. Again, because my steps are negative. Over 1, down 1.5. Over 1, down 2.5. Back to the vertex. Repeat the same thing on the other side. So over 1, down a half. Over 1, down 1.5. And over 1, down 2.5. And there we go. Now, as promised, there's our vertically compressed parabola that opens down, shifted right 3, and up 7. There we go. All right, now we're going to go back the other way. Here we go. Finding the equation, part 2 this time. All right, so find the equation of the quadratic that opens up with a vertex of 2, 5 and is vertically stretched by a factor of 3. Now, here's what we want to do here. If I'm going to find the equation of a parabola, I need these 3 values, h, whoops, A, H, and K. All right, so when I try to do that, first thing here, opens up, plus sign here. All right, here, oh, here's my vertex that's been shifted right 2. So that tells me my H value here, and up 5. So there's my K value. And is vertically stretched by a factor of 3. That means the number on my H value is 3. And so now, when I find the equation by writing it down, I get y equals, my A always comes first, 3. Then I have x, and then minus, my H value is 2, so I plug in a 2 there, squared, and then I put my K afterwards, plus K, which is a 5. There we go. And there's the equation of my parabola. All right, I'm going to try another one of those. All right, so again, got to have my letters here first. So I need my A value, H, and your K. All right, so let's see here. Find the equation of the quadratic relation that opens down. A value is negative. There we go. It has a vertex of negative 3, negative 6. So that's telling me negative 3 that this is shifted left 3, so my H is negative 3. Down 6, so my K is negative 6. And then is vertically compressed by a factor of a half. So the number on my A is 1/2. All right, so now I can write the equation. I got y equals, my A is negative 1/2. I have then x minus, and my H is minus 3. So I get 2 minus sign here and a minus sign here. Plus 3 then. It is. Squared minus 6. And there we go. There's the equation of my parabola. Now, it can get a little trickier when we have a graph. All right, so here's the first thing I'm going to do when I have a graph. I find the vertex, which again is your very bottom or top spot. All right, now this vertex is at the point, let's see here, 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1 down. Now that is telling me right away that my H value is 3 because it shifted right 3, and the K value is -1 because it shifted down 1. But what are we missing? The A value. Now, here's the thing. Again, your first step, that 1, is multiplied by A. So your first step is your A value. And so if I go to the vertex and I go over 1 and then I go up 1, 2, right? I went up 2. That's the pattern here. My A value is 2. And so again, now I can draw or write down the equation of my parabola. I got y equals, my A value comes first. Then I have x minus, what's my H here? 3. So I plug a 3 in there, squared, and my K is a -1. There we go. So again, the A value is a little trickier because you got to know that first step is your A value. All right, one more of those. So again, here we go. I'm going to find my vertex first to find this equation. So let's see here. There it is. What point is that? Let's see here. We going left. So left 2. So that means my -2 there. And then I'm going up 4. All right. So if my vertex is being shifted left 4 up, or left 2 up 4, that again means my H value is -2. And my K value is 4. But again, we've got to find the elusive A value. All right, so I go back to my vertex, see what happened here. So I went over 1 and then down 1 to get to my next point. So over 1, down 1, that means A is -1. All right, so now writing the equation of my parabola, I got y equals my A value, -1, times x minus, my H value is -2 here. So this minus sign and this minus sign come together, give me a positive. All right, and squared. And my K value is a +4. And there we go. So again, that's how we are able to graph our parabolas and find the equation of our parabolas. And again, you've got to be able to look at a parabola and be able to tell me what's happening, how it's shifted, up or down, left or right, what shape we have, right, compared to 1. Greater than 1, vertically stretched. Less than 1, vertically compressed. And if it happens to be 1, like our last example here, the number, not the sign, sign's just telling us whether it opens up or down. This one had a normal shape comparatively to what we're used to. All right, so that is graphing quad.